Today we're making yogurt. To make yogurt, you want to start with pasteurized milk. Raw milk doesn't work as well when you're making yogurt because it has its own natural bacteria, good and bad, that can overtake the yogurt. So you use a pasteurized milk, and the way you pasteurize it is you heat it to 165 degrees for 15 seconds. You can heat it higher for less time, but it doesn't seem to work as well with the yogurt culture, so I use that timing. So you want to take your yogurt culture, and you can purchase that at the store, just grocery store yogurt, plain yogurt, and use that as long as it says it's a live culture. But the problem with that is it's not as long-lived as an heirloom culture. I use an heirloom culture from Cultures for Health. I personally use a couple different kinds. I use Bulgarian because it's closest to commercial tasting and usually is in a lot of commercial yogurts. And I use a countertop yogurt called Billy, and that incubates at room temperature. So after you've heated your milk and pasteurized it, you want to cool it down. You never want to put your yogurt culture in there when it's too hot for it, or it'll kill it. So with Billy, since it's incubating at 70 degrees and dies slightly above that, you want to not put it in warm milk. You want to wait until the milk's completely cool. So with the Bulgarian, you're heating at 110 degrees. Obviously, that's not room temperature, so you're going to need either a commercial yogurt maker, which is what I have here by YoGourmet, or you're going to use a method with like a heating pad and a cooler. And so when I use the commercial yogurt maker, I leave the lid off because it seems to overheat with the lid on. That's my personal note. So when you're using your culture, you want to go ahead and take a couple of tablespoons and put that in your pasteurized milk. You're using a spoon that has been sterilized or else not used in the other culture, because you don't want to cross your cultures or it's going to compromise them. So I use a glass jar, and I use a mason ball plastic lid that goes on the jar, and you screw that on, and because it's tighter, it keeps the cultures from cross-contaminating in your refrigerator. Once that's in there, you shake it up, or you can stir it with a spoon. All this stuff is sterilized because if you're introducing bad bacteria, then it's bad for your yogurt. It's going to compromise it. So every week you're making your culture to make sure the culture is good and active. If you leave it longer than that, then it can not incubate as well. So you're incubating for 8 to 12 hours. Mine usually takes 12 hours. At the time, you can check it at 8, but you want to check it carefully. Don't shake it around or move it around a lot. Don't introduce a instrument. You can tip it gently and see that it's kind of solid. You can also look on the side for little air bubbles to see if it's done. And something I noted is that yogurt, when it's made early in the lactation cycle of your goat, if you're using goat milk, which is what I do, then it doesn't always make it. It doesn't get to this. It's kind of liquid instead. So that's just a personal note. But yeah, if you move this around too much during incubation, then you're going to get the whey separating and the yogurt on top, so you really don't want that. But that's making yogurt.